Pleasure once again to be presenting here in Iconic. I really love it. I think the energy is always great. And just to do a little brief introduction of myself, I'm Dermot McCarty. I am a psychotherapist as well as CFO of Under Rainbow. And it's an honour now. I'll ask Pearl to introduce herself because it's her first time presenting. Well, it's not. Her first time presenting here in Iconic. So thank you, Pearl. Over to you for a little bit introduction.
Thanks, Dermot. Thanks, Sasha, for the opportunity. My name is Pearl. I am a clinical lead in the Contact Tracing Center and Junior Chamber International Dublin President. And a member of Under the Rainbow. I'm looking forward to this presentation. It's going to be exciting. Thank you.
Absolutely. So what is Diversity Toolkit? What we're going to cover today, because we are passionate about about diversity. So I want to give you an understanding of diversity and the future of business, the trends out there. It's so important for entrepreneurs, social enterprises, having to focus on diversity because we will really show why it's important. With the benefits in the workplace, we touch about human behavior, unconscious bias, you may not have heard that before, about creating a positive work culture as well, and how to bring inclusion, maintain it in the workplace. We're going to do that. And to end it off, we'll give you some bullet points what to do. I'll give you at the end, just really hit home diversity, leave you thinking, right? So, Pearl, if you would like to start off.
Lovely, thank you so much. Diversity and inclusion, this is one of my favorite topics that is very close to my heart, and I really like presenting this topic. So before I start going on to define what diversity and inclusion is, I would just like to share a little story with you. So this story is about a young girl who left her home country and relocated, worked in different organizations abroad, several hiccups along the way due to her being different. She was not even given a chance to contribute her ideas, always put under the carpet, until she then decided not to say anything during work meetings. And mind you, these ideas could have saved the company. Those ideas could have increased sales. But because of lack of understanding of diversity and inclusion in those workplaces, I think that was really a big loss. So I'll go on to define what diversity is, but maybe in the meantime, the participants here, if you don't mind, you can put in the chat box what you think diversity is while I carry on as well. Okay. So, as you can see here in this diversity chart, these are the things that really, it gives us the overview of dimensions of diversity that are present and active in one's workplace or environment. So diversity means the representation of different people in an organization. It literally means a range of different things, as you can see them in this diversity chart. Things that make us different: career, ethnicity, hobbies, ability, family, physique, health, we name them all. So, like I said, diversity really means different. It is the understanding of diversity that allows us to see each other as being unique and equal. So, like I've already mentioned, that it literally means a range of different things. So for understanding diversity means understanding that each one of us is unique and accepting others as they are, despite their differences. So diversity for SMEs means doing business with a diverse range of clients and being non-discriminative with your hiring processes and operating and open to different ideas and contacts. Because you see that SMEs struggle within the first 5 years A diverse approach to doing business means increased flexibility, acceptance, and bigger networks. You are never too small for diversity, because in many occasions, I have seen people even finding it difficult to say diversity, to even just mention that word diversity. Diversity is not a bad word. It means positivity, acceptance, and safety for all. So I'll pass you on to Dermot to continue on the next slide there.
Thank you, Pearl. I love the passion comes out. It's really, really strong. And I'm with you about this because diversity, business need to look at this. You know, really small entrepreneurs who are listening or any small business really do. We in Ireland have moved on in over 25 years. It's incredible. I went away years ago to Australia. When I came back, I went, my God, our country has changed immensely. You know, there's so many different people, different backgrounds, there's different families, like one parent, people look, we're online world, COVID, like now there's going to be, are we going back to the office and stuff like that? People want to work at home and like working at home, people want to go back to the office. Of course, LGBT plus, I'm a member of that community, gender, male, female, non-binary, there's disability. This online world has given great access to people who maybe mobility, disability, and companies are now looking at this because before people were discriminated against because if they couldn't, let's say mobility, they had a disability. Now that seems to be not the case now, and companies need to look at this. Multiculturalism is really, as I say, so important. As Pearl's touched on, she was ignored, you know, ignored from where she came from, who she is. Me too. And look at the company lost. They lost because they had, which I will touch on, unconscious bias. But of course, age as well. There's a lot of, I work with people in my therapy practice who are really 60 and 60 plus, and they are as young as anything, you know, the age of 25-year-old. Incredible, the energy. So an intersectionality we'll touch on as well is about people who are different. Some people may be Black, some people will be autistic like myself. There's different things people are dealing with. But if a company recognizes not their weaknesses, but their strengths and what they can add to the company, it's amazing. And it goes to people who are entrepreneurs as well. You may be working with people who are from a diverse background. You may have unconscious bias, which we'll talk about. So it's very important to be aware of your first perceived judgments of people, because you may be losing out to the detriment of your own business. So why do you think we need diversity and inclusion? You know, have a think about it. Why do we need it? Why do we need diversity and inclusion? I don't know before I go on to the next slide. As I said before to other accounting presentations I've done, I used to be an accountant and I'm the CFO now, and it's come in handy, I must say. So I will touch on certain things, the finance aspect of it. But have a look, just think about it, and you may take away. We'll talk through it and do more slides presentation about it. But so finance for a company. I'm telling you, companies or small companies, or you may work for a large corporate and listen in, you will lose out. It is not a fad anymore. It is a competitive edge. People are now looking at companies who are supporting their identities, in their gender, supporting them because they want to work for companies with them. I do work with a corporate the weekend, and I see this. The corporate is really, really embracing people from all over, you know, and really respecting their religion, their faith, where they come from, and they feel at home. They really do feel they want to work harder for the company. So it's really important for companies and organizations to really take on diversity workforce and put it in your policies in HR, because it's so, so important. Because you will attract employees, you will attract employees you want, because you'll get, look, all that. When you attract people from a diverse background and diverse ethnic group, everything else, and diverse abilities, look what you get as a company and organization. Reduced employee turnover. I see this, definitely. People want to stay. Other companies I work for, when they didn't respect the individual, they were gone. They were gone, you know. And my own experience as well, when I worked in the last corporate and they really respected where I came from a community, because personally, touching where I come from, the LGBT plus community, where they had communities involved, where I was involved, it made me feel safe and secure, and I wanted to work for that company and stay. So really companies are benefiting when they really look at diversity and include it in their HR policies. And again, entrepreneurs as well out there, you really, really look at this and look at people's individuality and their strengths, not their weakness, because we may have judgments. You will get like increased profits. You will get a better company reputation and higher employment engagement, what I have seen. And overall, this will lead to better decisions for where you come forward. We are a prime example, and I'm passionate about this because under Rumbo, we started only about 2 or 3 years ago. And we were at a workshop and he said, why is only white people presenting? And that challenged us, that challenged what we do when we put out there that we're a diverse country, we've got diverse people coming to us. And that has increased our profitability and has increased our reputation. Our creativity is immense now. I was saying we're going places, but I know Gillian, our colleague, goes, Dermot, you keep saying that, but we are, because we are attracting people. We see the person, not from where they come from, or we see the person from what they can give to our company and organization. And we are benefiting immensely from it. You used to be an ex-accountant. So we'll have a look at that on the right-hand side. Immense, look at that. 45%. This was a survey done by DCU, by the way, which is really fantastic. We have collaboration with this college, and they are really, really like pioneers diversity inclusion in this country. And they did a report about this, about what they did a survey with companies who had diverse policies in place. So number one, for the company, when they had diverse, and we're seeing this, 50% increase in finance returns, amazing. 50% increase in creativity, definitely we see this. 20% increase in employees staying. They don't want to go. Incredible, absolutely incredible. For the person who's looking in, you may be yourself as well listening to this. You want to be lucky, you could be one of these people. 82% of HR leaders believe they need to look at diversity now because it's such a competitive edge, so competitive out there. 75 employees have experienced unfairness, because of their identity, and that's not, they moved on. In my community as well, many people look for companies, and I see I work with people in my community as well. They work for companies that have policy that protects their identity and sexual orientation, and they want to stay. Millennials, maybe a few millennials here listening to us, they really research an awful lot before they go for a company. And women in the workforce, they really want to look at diversity, and so important that they are respected in the workforce, not because of their disadvantage. So it's really, really important for it. So Pearl, you will touch on what's done for the individual.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Emil. Moving on, we shall now talk about benefits for the individual, as Dermot has now talked about benefits for the company. There's nothing beautiful like feeling accepted, respected, and having that sense of belonging. And belonging, I mean, ensuring that everybody feels safe. So at this point, it brings us to this word, inclusion. So what is inclusion? Inclusion is ensuring that everyone has an equal opportunity to contribute, to influence every part and level of a workplace. When a person feels seen and accepted as an individual, it gives them that greater sense of reassurance and confidence, and increased opportunities for personal and professional growth, and therefore will be more likely to stay in the company. And then productivity increases when everybody feels valued and respected, and I'm sure we can all relate to that. And a higher sense of personal safety, as mentioned, not afraid to be themselves. Because when you feel that you are not accepted or you are not needed in a place, you won't be coming to work as your full self, and you won't be able to even contribute anything in the company. And then when a person feels safe, they trust and attach more. This means a better sense of collaboration, and the person is more likely to reach a higher potential and become more creative and better at problem solving, because that way they are bringing their full unique selves to work. And also there'll be improved morale as employee turnover is low, longer lasting friendships, and a sense of fitting in, larger network of personal and professional contacts. People start to feel like they can be themselves and bring themselves, the whole self, to work, which is very validating. Improved mental health. This is a big thing. When you feel unwanted, it lowers your self-esteem, which can lead to you being depressed. And when you have improved mental health, you feel confident, and you can even try new things to improve in diverse culture. So let us get to the habit of saying all of us rather than us versus them. I think I'll pass on the slides to Dermot there to touch on the unconscious bias.
Well, indeed. I love that, the last term. I really do. I really do. That's really passionate. I really think it's fantastic. And that will lead on to just unconscious bias. We all have picked up from our culture, from society, certain things that we believe are true about other people from other cultures, or the faiths, or the religions, sexual orientation. We've picked these up. Ireland, now, my story, Ireland was a different country years ago, very, very much Roman Catholic, one colour, and certain things that we definitely picked up. When I knew myself on my journey, I really changed, completely changed about it. It's all about communication as well, that you really want to educate yourself on this. I'll give an example. I used to always say, ladies and gentlemen, and Gillian just had a word with me, and not a word, I'm not giving out, but we had a discussion about it. I said that was not very inclusive, because you will alienate some people. You will alienate certain people out there, because gender isn't really expression. So my language is changing, I'm saying. And guys as well. Guys is something I do not use anymore, because it's really sort of very, like, guys, it's not gender friendly. So it's a way of looking. We all have this bias that we pick up from certain things. Again, when I was traveling away, you always taught Irish people, oh, you Irish all drink an awful lot. Oh, you Irish are lazy when it's in Australia. Certain things they were picking up because of their culture. And of course, I'm not like that. So just be aware of certain things when you meet somebody. Just for a split second, you may have a judgment that you've picked up from your culture and society, and that you may lose out, as Pearl mentioned before at the start of this. And even happened to me as well. Definitely, I was very much a very white, all male, heterosexual environment. I felt intimidated. I had allies, which is great. But we were not listed per life, where we didn't fit into the norm, let's say. And they had an unconscious bias against us, and they missed out to their detriment. So it is so important to really be aware of your unconscious bias. Be aware what you picked up. If you're looking at CVs that come in or anything like that, you see some people from different areas of the world, be aware. Challenge yourself, because you will be maybe losing out. So that just leads to human behavior. Like, we all want to belong. We all want to be part of a group. We really want to be part of a tribe, let's say. So in work and workforce and everything else, when we come from diverse backgrounds, we do want to be included. And it's so important for companies out there really now to respect this in their policies, that they really respect the individual, and they really encourage them to be part of a company. And then, as we touched on, including people, being inclusive because of their diverse background, will really reward not only the individual, but the company. So human people, we want to belong. And if we are excluded, and Pearl is touching as well, and I see it as a therapist, I see people who come to me and they're in companies that are not respecting them. They are detrimental to their mental health. And some of them have no choices, but they need to stay. So that's why they come to therapy to talk about it. But also on the positive side, when you see clients who come to me and everything else, and their companies start embracing who they are, the growth in them is immense because they feel belonged. Some of them can't belong in their families, but some of them now belong in their family and their work. And they stay and they feel their colleagues are great and everything else, they want to work, and it really helps them. And the company benefits because they want to really work for them. So it's really important that companies do look at this. We're all humans at the end of the day. We do want to be a sense of belong. We do want to be respected, as Beryl touched on. And it's so important that companies, entrepreneurs, sole traders, and everything else, that you really look at diversity, because really this country is changing. It's changing for the better, and you will lose out if you don't look at this. You will lose out. So creating a positive culture. What you feel you can do, and reviewing the chat afterwards. Just create a positive culture, work culture. What you feel you could do in the workplace. Take a moment there, yeah, and then put in the chat if you have any ideas, and we can review them at the end, which is great. So Pearl, off you go.
Thanks, Emil. Now the big question is, how do SMEs introduce, maintain, and improve this workplace inclusion? What can they do? There is need to be employee-led, but from top down, and welcome and destigmatize the difference in people. Be mindful of your language. Like I said, all of us rather than us versus them. Be aware and supportive of individuals, be aware and supportive of individualism, and be open-minded about people's differences. Right versus wrong is a matter of perception. He is not right. Be respectful, not judgmental, and listen to what your colleagues have to say. Remember my little story at the beginning, that give others a chance to present their ideas, despite how they look, and have empathy. I like this word empathy, because many people, they can't put themselves in other person's shoes to really know how that person feels. Empathy requires that you step outside your own emotions to view things entirely from the perspective of the other person. And sometimes jokes are not meant to be harmful, but are not welcoming and can cause discomfort to others. Diversity is not just about doing the right thing. It is not silence, it is respect. So strength lies in differences, not in similarities. Promote equality right up to the hiring practices. As companies, we need to hire people by their merits and be inclusive. Inclusion is a key component of good mental health, as we've already mentioned, and a way to run an inclusive business. Management need to be aware of work-related stress and perceived discrimination, and encourage open, non-judgmental, supportive conversations. For example, implement a diversity and inclusion policy and ensure that it is put into practice. Because I know that some companies, they have this diversity and inclusion policy, but it's not put in practice. And create an action plan to address any training needs, difficulties, and inequalities. Diversity first came to Ireland as a concept in the 90s. And it's growing year after year, rapidly evolving and changing with the times, which is very good. And diversity really is acceptance, equality, leading to success. So you are responsible for implementing change. And I'm sure we can do this. Thanks, Emil. I'll pass you on to Dermot to wrap up.
Absolutely. It's all about acceptance, really, at work. It's really, really acceptance. And again, when I listened to Para's story and my own as well, when I had certain things being said about my sexual orientation, it was great to have an ally beside me who really was supporting me, because I couldn't take on the whole organization. And it was great that the corporate as well had committees that I could join and respect it. Because when you're accepted at work, you really will embrace who you are. You really will support the organization that you're part of. And absolutely, and if you're an entrepreneur and you're dealing with people as well, individually, you really respect people. When you respect their diversity and all that, you will lose out again, we'll say it again, if you have this unconscious bias of certain people, the way they looked, act, talked, whatever, you don't want to work with them, you'll be losing out. You need to challenge your judgment. You need to challenge that. Because a lack of acceptance of bad communication can lead to really a negative impact. And I'm seeing it I'm a therapist, I'm seeing it in my work. I see the negativity that it causes to the people, my clients I work with, when they go to an organization or when they work with people and they hear derogatory terms said to them, that really affects their mental health. But then again, on the positive side, when there's organizations that really support who they are, for who they are, and what abilities they can do, they grow themselves and the company grows with them. So it's all about respect, really, really respect about it, the individual, because when you respect the person for the diverse background that they come from, you really will benefit. And we are seeing that in Under the Rainbow. We are attaching to this. So definitely for diversity, anywhere there, as we mentioned through this presentation, look at diversity. If you're a sole trader, a small business, or medium, or individual, diversity is so key. Sergio will be definitely sending the presentation out to you all after this, because it really is. Maybe you may have never heard of this before. You may go, oh my God, never thought of this. Oh my God, I want to have a competitive advantage. Oh my God, what can I do? You know, but if this is a starting point, because you're not aware what diversity is and diversity inclusion, and how it can help you as an entrepreneur, a sole trader in your small business, this is probably a starting point. So do take away and have a look at this, you know, definitely, because it's so, so important for diversity. Now, our nation has changed for the better, which is great. You know, now it's time the corporate world and small companies are catching up. So they're really respecting this. The individuals out there are really getting the benefits from it all financially. And you can see that in a previous presentation slide, let's say. So that's us. Under the Rainbow, there we are. And again, if you need any training or anyone to reach out, please do. And we're delighted that we won an award for diversity and inclusion. You know, really, really passionate about that. And it's really an area that we're going into, because we come from a variety of backgrounds ourselves. And as you can see, it really works well together with Pearl and I. It's been fantastic. You know, it's great. You know, we come with a diverse background, but we brought together our experiences. And that's what it's all about. So we do a variety. We're social enterprise. I say only about 2 years old, so we're going into our third year. We do a lot of training for corporates and small companies, and also we are a thriving therapy centre.